My name is Yemi Shodimu, the son of an Egba chief from Abeokuta, Ogun State, and a mother that hailed from Isalofin in Lagos Island. My early days were spent in the serene but beautiful city of Abeokuta. I experienced a community of people that cared for each other and elders that looked out for each other's children. You could not misbehave outside and believe that could be done with impunity. Someone was there to reprimand you, which of course was a better option. 2, you're being reported to your parents. Of course you knew the consequences of that. This automatically kept us in check. I had the privilege of growing up in the palace in Ake with my late grandmother, Olori Adejoke Gbadebo, who was a wife of late Oba Adeshina Gbadebo, Alake of Egbaland. This exposed me to the way our people celebrated our culture and tradition, even while mingling with people from other religions, such as Christians and Muslims, without any acrimony or rancor. The dignity of labor was also inculcated in us quite early in life, apart from the normal house chores which I mandatorily did in spite of the presence of ourselves. I hawked old newspapers after school so as to learn the importance of contributing something to the home economy. Abeokuta provided the right ambience for the arts to grow and prosper while creating the desired recreation for the people in a friendly environment. The cinema affair, that is free cinema screening of cowboy and Indian films, was a favorite pastime. There was also the ancient Centenary Hall that was home to most of the Nigeria's traveling theaters. My grandmother was a lover of live theater, so I had the privilege of seeing the Ogun Days, Ogunmola, Duro Ladipo, Baba Salah, Baba Miro, and a host of others live on stage. This later in life influenced my career path. The social celebrations, including family celebrations, could run late into the evening or night without any apprehension about safety. This also afforded me my early exposure to popular music. I haven't seen Ebenezer Obey, Yusuf Olatunji, Ayinla Omowura perform live. I got so sucked in. Much later in life, all I wanted to do after my national youth service was to become a backup singer in Ebenezer Obey's band. In all, life was good then. There was a quest to achieve things in life. Parents pushed us to work hard, but there was also contentment that discouraged greed and avarice. I believe we can get back on track if we collectively decide to bestow on the generations coming after us a sane, dignified, conducive society. Let us talk about a brighter future and not the good old days. I therefore join Shemori in this collective and bold attempt at changing the narrative and doing it right for a better future.
Good afternoon. I am Adebanke Odunoi, and this is a news brief. The Nigeria Governors Forum (NGF) has donated 50 million naira to the Kaduna State government for onward distribution to the victims of the recent Abuja-Kaduna train attack. A statement by head NGF Media and Public Affairs Abdulrazak Bello Bakindo in Abuja states that the forum chairman and governor of Ekiti, Kayode Fayemi, made the donation when he led a two-man delegation of the forum to Kaduna State. Fayemi said that the delegation was in the state to commiserate with the government and people of the train attack, which claimed lives injured many others, and several others also were kidnapped. The People's Democratic Party (PDP) has further adjusted its timetable and schedule of activities for the 2023 elections. The PDP, who announced the adjustments in a statement by its National Publicity Secretary Debo Ologunagba in Abuja, said that the new closing date for the purchase of forms has been extended to Tuesday, April 19th, while the last day for the submission of completed forms has been extended to Wednesday, the 20th of April. Ologunagba said that the party adjusted the timetable to make up for the 2 days of public holidays for Easter celebrations as announced by the federal government. A 38-year-old Nigerian man from Imo State, Ugochukwu Williams, has declared his intention to contest for office of the President of Nigeria. Speaking to journalists while declaring his intention in Owerri, the state capital, Williams said it's time to give energetic youths a chance to contribute their quota to nation building. He noted that major achievements in Nigeria were recorded when youths were leading the country. The presidential aspirant said the PDP is the only hope for Nigerians to come out of the APC's woes.
It is time for the young people to take over. Mr. President has already said the wise sign. So Mr. President is going to hand over to a young Nigerian. He's going to hand over to a youth that will better this country. Then when you talk about party, yes, I'm a PDP man for a long time, and if you want to make a change, you must belong to a political party all over the world. And I chose to be with PDP. And running under the PDP is because we are serious, we are realistic, we are confident that this is the structure that will give us what we want. And that is why we don't want to go to a new party that does not have a spread all over the country. What we are asking is, PDP give us the ticket, and you see people from APC, ABGA, and all the smaller parties all over Nigeria we support us and we win. It will be like a tsunami if PDP give me ticket today.
Ogun State PDP governorship aspirant Segun Showunmi has promised to rewrite the security architecture of the state if elected. Showunmi made the promise while attending the stakeholders meeting and delegate sensitization at Yewa North Imeko Afon constituency. Delegates also assured him of their support towards his aspiration.
For security, as a concern, the challenges they face with Boko Haram, with herdsmen clashes, which they have reduced to Fulani invasions. I've assured them that there is no such thing as an invasion, but that a comprehensive security architecture will be rewritten to cover the space. And I also charged the Baales to figure out a way that they can be more useful at information gathering in a way to help us. I reiterated my belief that a biometric capture of the people of the state to a verifiable address will be most needed to help us begin to stem insecurity by being able to put the people of the state in their location, and we can identify them by biometric.
Deputy Senate President Ovie Omo Agege has said that Delta State Governor Senator Ifeanyi Okowa spent 2 billion naira on political appointees in the state monthly when he can't pay retirees their monthly pension, having worked for 35 years. Omo Agege made this statement at the declaration for the All Progressive governorship aspirants in Warri, Delta State. Our Delta State correspondent Akpo Mijero Friday reported that DSP Omo Agege said that the deputy government of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in the state has failed Delta in all sectors, and that it's time for everyone to wake up and vote the party out.
Our civil servants, our parents who gave their life, the best part of their lives, in the service of this state. Some of them have retired in 8, 9, 10 years. Until today, they have not been paid their retirement benefits. Meanwhile, Okowa is busy every day employing I never talk fast like that. Okowa spends 2 billion naira. 2 billion naira every month on these people who do not contribute anything to governance. But our civil servants, our youths who need gainful employment, he will not give you jobs. Enough is...
On his part, the Commissioner for Information, Delta State, Charles Aniagwa, debunked the allegations made against Governor Ifeanyi Okowa. Aniagwa says those appointees are those helping the government to develop the 25 local government areas of the state, and that this shows that the Deputy Senate President is not on ground to know what the government has done.
We need to remind him that he needs to go and visit Obiaruku and see what is going on with the Obiaruku bridge. We need to also tell him that before we came on board, our people from Indokwa West to Indokwa East were making use of what we call pontoon, a particular kind of boat that have to convey vehicles from Indokwa West to join our people in the Beneku houses, not to come and display their ignorance of the issues as they are on ground. He does not know that we have built bridges even very close to his community. It means he is not on ground. If he's not aware that a number of secondary schools have been transformed and they now look like a university, it means that he's not very much on ground. If he's not aware that over 20,000 and by remotely more than 200,000 Deltans, young ones, have been taken off the street on account of our empowerment programs, then it means he does not understand what it means to grow an economy of the state.
The Yahaya Bello Presidential Campaign Organization has said that the All Progressives Congress APC presidential aspirant Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State possesses all the attributes that can clinch the presidency for the party in 2023, claiming that of all the presidential aspirants, Bello is the APC's best bet. The Director of Media and Publicity of the campaign organization, Yemi Kolapo, said that experienced and accomplished leaders of the party would not sacrifice Bello's winning attributes for destructive politics. She asserted that the party knew that after 8 years it must present a candidate that could win the next election, considering the we against them attitude of citizens in many countries to the government of the day, which usually makes retaining power under a free and fair environment difficult. INEC has suspended the continuous voter registration exercise in 54 centers. This comes after Thursday's attack in Ihite Uboma local government area of Imo State, where a staff of the commission was killed and 2 others went missing. The National Commissioner and Chairman Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, noted that the commission has now established contact with 2 of its missing staff after Thursday's attack. And reactions have continued to trail the attack and killing of a staff of the INEC at Ihite Uboma, Imo State. The State Commissioner for Information, Decline Emelumba, says the government is working round the clock to bring the culprits to book. Meanwhile, more than 24 hours after the attack on INEC staff, the police authority in Imo State is yet to react or make any official statements on the unfortunate incident.
Very unfortunate incident, very unfortunate, and it's condemnable. The state government condemns the action, very unfortunate, and I'm happy that the security agencies have promised that they will swing into action to unravel those behind it. I want to add that the state government is really very feels very bad and sympathizes with the family of the bereaved. I want to extend these sincere condolences to the family of the bereaved and even those who probably must have been psychologically affected by the act. So it's a condemnable act.
Nigeria's Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, wants all Nigerians to engage one another in discussions in order to resolve the obvious differences and foster peace and stability in the country. Professor Osinbajo was speaking at the 75th birthday celebration and book launch in honor of the former Managing Director of Daily Times of Nigeria, Dr. Yemi Ogunbiyi, in Lagos. The event also had in attendance the former Commonwealth Secretary General, former Governor of Ogun State, and other dignitaries. Plus TV News Ngozika Ohaichesi reports.
It was an evening of memories, celebration, music and nostalgia, as friends and families of Dr. Yemi Ogunbiyi gathered to celebrate his 75th birthday and launched the book, The Road Never Forgets. Pupils of the Yemi Ogunbiyi Anglican School, named after the celebrant, provided music interludes. Various speakers at the event likened Ogunbiyi's trajectory to the birth and political growth of Nigeria. The 75-year-old man was born in Kano, in northern Nigeria, to a Yoruba father and an Igbo mother, which he vividly narrated in his memoirs.
You see, this title, The Road Never Forgets. I wrote a play called The Road. There's no way Yemi Ogunbiyi will persuade me or anyone that he did not steal the copyright of the road. And I'm willing to negotiate with him, and I donate whatever I extract from him to this worthy cause of universal education.
Many of the stories compiled in this book, my siblings and I have been blessed to either witness or hear from my dad over the course of our lives. He told us stories about his childhood in Kano, about his KC days when he was head boy, and when he used to pole vault. Ladies and gentlemen, did you know my father used to pole vault? He's told us about his New York days with Uncle BJ, about how writing a PhD looked very different before Google. We all know about his days teaching, about how he stumbled into the media industry by chance, but ended up finding a new home there.
In his speech, former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Emeka Anyoko, said the only way Nigeria can solve its myriad problems was for it to revert to true federalism. He used the occasion to charge prospective candidates in the forthcoming 2023 general election to commit themselves to the reformulation of the country's governance system.
I believe that the picture that emerges from the book is that Nigeria has largely been on the decline during the period in question, and that, in Yemi's words, Nigeria needs a fresh start, new thinking, and a new beginning.
It was time for the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, to give his speech. He harped on the need for all Nigerians of all extracts to engage one another in a concrete discussion that can bed peace.
In telling this compelling story, we are led through the nationalistic idealism of our pre-colonial days, the excitement of civil rule and its tragic denouement, then military rule, a curious diarchy, other iterations of civil rule, and all manner of contemporary events. But he engages every subject honestly, openly, and frankly. Somehow, it almost seems that by his open, vulnerable style, he disarms and commands empathy and admiration. And perhaps there is counsel there for us as a nation. Perhaps we need to talk more to ourselves and not at ourselves. We need frank discussions on the issues that divide us. And we need openness about our fears and prejudices.
Emeritus Professor Femi Oshofiso, a poet, playwright, and scholar, reviewed the book.
The story of his life so far and after, with all these collisions and encounters, his moments of glory and of depression, his successes and failures and so on, is what Yemi has assembled in this book. And it is rightly voluminous, taking over 400 pages. Structured into 4 parts of 3 chapters each, making a total of 12 chapters in all. This book, we just call someone to look at it.
Writing this book, I stuck to my memory, even though I was aware that memory could be selective, tricky, and even forgetful. But memory, as I argue in the book, is vital. How can we carry our memories? How do we How do our memories shape our lives, especially if one had to straddle cultures as a child? In writing this book, however, I confirm that I made no compromises with my past, its words and all. Rooted firmly in the belief that a memoir is, after all, an interplay between memory and history.
According to Dr. Ogumbiyi, Nigeria needs a fresh start and fresh thinking, as nothing can be built on what currently exists. Ngozika Ohaichesi, Plus TV News.
As Christians are basking in the euphoria of the Easter celebration, some Nigerians say it is worth celebrating irrespective of the many challenges. That's on Street Views. Let's take a listen.
It signifies freedom for me. Means that Christ came, he sacrificed himself, and he has died so that a lot of sins that a lot of people commit, even before they commit it, they are forgiven. And so once they just accept him, everything is gone. Yeah, there's insecurity, there is a lot of things, but Jesus did not cause it.
As a Catholic, Good Friday meant a lot to me because we are celebrating the resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ. If you are alive today, despite the security situation in the country, you should celebrate yourself. You should celebrate Christ, because without Christ, there's no life.
Where there is life, there is hope, right? We have to, we don't we are Nigerians. No matter the condition, we are going to continue smiling and celebrating our life because we are alive and there is health, and we thank God.
It's worth celebrating because no matter what, we can't just deny ourselves the right to be happy. So we need to be happy, to share, because now Nigeria itself is very bad. So the only way you can come out of the bad situation is just for you to give yourself that happiness.
As a Christian, I just understood that Good Friday is the day that Jesus Christ went to Galilee and he was crucified on the cross of Calvary, and it's a very significant event. So regardless of whatever may be, what may come, the circumstances on ground, it should be celebrated. And it should be taken into consideration that this particular day is actually the day that somebody came from heaven, took the form of man, and died for our sins.
In what it, in any condition, we should praise God. When you are alive, be able to praise God. And especially this week, most of people is late. Maybe sickness or one thing or the other happens suddenly. So when we are alive, you praise God.
Ó ṣeun gbogbo nínú ayé wa nítorí pé ńgbà tí Jésù kú fún wa tán ó tún jíǹde tó rà wá padà nínú ẹ̀ṣẹ̀. Ìwé mímọ́ náà ló sọ wí nínú ohun gbogbo ní ká ṣáà máa dúpẹ́. Ó lọ́pẹ́ ni. Ọpẹ́ ló yẹ. Ọpẹ́ ló yẹ. Àwa láyé, ọpẹ́ ló yẹ.
And moving on to other parts of Africa, tens of thousands of people were left without shelter, water, and power after flash floods washed away homes and roads and killed almost 400 people in South Africa's KwaZulu-Natal province. Among those mourning is Monakele Mshali, who lost 2 daughters on April 11th in Durban. She explained that the girls were aged 11 and 17. They were asleep when floods swept away a corrugated iron shack where they were staying while their mother was out of town attending a funeral. And now South Africa, 3 Chinese astronauts returned to Earth today after 183 days in space. State television reported completing the country's longest crewed space mission to date. The astronauts landed 9 hours after they left a key module of China's first space station. Following their launch in October, the astronauts Zai Zingang, Ye Guangfu, and a female crew member, Wang Yaping, spent 183 days in space, completing the 5th of 11 missions needed to finish the space station by the end of the year. And on to business news, the Nigerian Communications Commission has urged Nigerians to protect telecommunications infrastructure, saying that vandalism, theft and hostility from the host community are among the major setbacks to the telecoms industry. The Director of Zonal Operations NCC, Amina Shehu, said this at a sensitization program organized by the Commission at Wanune, Taraka local government area of Benue State. The NCC said that aside from the role of the law enforcement agencies in protecting telecom infrastructure, the consumers are obliged to ensure the protection of telecoms infrastructure in their environment. And moving to entertainment news, the latest chapter in Hollywood star Johnny Depp's legal battle with ex-wife Amber Heard has kicked off as a U.S. defamation trial began over an op-ed written by Heard that included claims of experiencing domestic abuse. Depp, 58, has sued Heard for $50 million, saying she defamed him when she penned a 2018 opinion piece in the Washington Post about being a survivor of domestic abuse. The op-ed never mentioned Depp by name, but Depp's lawyers have said it was clear Heard was referencing him and that the piece damaged his film career and reputation. And in sports news, defending champion Stefanos Tsitsipas edged Diego Schwartzman in an epic quarter-final battle under the floodlights at the Monte Carlo Masters on Friday. In a dramatic encounter, Tsitsipas let a 5-2 lead in the second set slip before fighting from 4-0 down in the decider to bag a 6-2, 6-7, 3, 6-4 victory after 2 hours and 45 minutes. The third-seeded Greek will meet second-seed Alexander Zverev for a place in the final. And that's the news brief. For more stories, please follow us on PlusTvAfrica on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at PlusTvAfrica and PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. I am Adebanke Odunui. Thank you for joining us.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from PlusTvAfrica.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, then go beat you. Now 2,500 I dey pay.
How can we have
peace without justice.
Plus Politics. It's not just another political conversation, it's about keeping you in the know. The relevant interviews, asking the tough questions to those that matter. Get the answers you need. Does it mean that the people who were injured, people who were shot at, those who were involved in that stampede are not going to get justice?
It is unfortunate, it is sad that we have a government of deaf and dumb.
Analysis from top experts.
The last election was not really an election.
We feel that Obasanjo has a very special place in his heart for hating Ijaw people.
I think it really boils down to two things. One, trust and accountability.
Plus Politics, every weeknight at 7 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
Everyone talks about getting their dream jobs, but what does it take to get that dream job? In a religious society like Nigeria, some people resort to prayer, but did you know that sometimes the only reason you're not getting the job isn't because you don't have the credentials? Many times about how well you can defend your credentials through your presentation and communication skills during the interview. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the rate of unemployment in Nigeria rose to 33.3% in December 2020 from a 27.1% in 3 months. Interview phobia is a major issue that contributes to unemployment in the country. Some individuals are employable but don't know how to express themselves properly, present their resumes, and network effectively. An expert spoke to us about interview phobia and how it has increased the rate of unemployment within the country.
Okay, so I mentioned I struggled. I went to Lagos State University, a public university. Nobody taught you any of these things. And so I thought that if I come to the interview space, I would do well because I know I'm good enough. But coming in, it was difficult. I got plenty of rejections, and I made up my mind that if you can get past this thing, you would help other people who are also like you. And so sitting down in that space, I also see people like me, and I feel for them.
According to Student Graduate Report, more than 50% of graduates in Nigeria disclose that communication skill is the least skill their academic education prepared them with.
Like we have a compulsory NYSC every year. I believe the government or the educational sector should do something like when they know somebody's in their final year, maybe they allow them go through a month or so, or they introduce a course and make it mandatory for them to be able to go out there and face the outside world when it comes to interviews, when it comes to networking and all of that. I've seen super amazing, intelligent people lost opportunities because they were not confident, and those who were not so smart but have built their confidence are able to get the job and get these networks and get these opportunities. Especially when you come from a Yoruba or Igbo family where you don't have to look at your dad in the eye. You get that kind of thing. So you have to learn to look at people in the eye when you talk to them. It makes them believe that you are not up to something. You're not hiding anything in your cupboard.
We're going to school or having to attend different schools, all right? They just teach us, we only have syllabus on what they've been doing so far in past years, and there's no trend of bringing in new things.
So the next time you complain about not getting a job, think about how well your CV is prepared. Assess your communication skills during the interview and think about how well you presented yourself.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Ladies Talking Business. I'm your host, Moremi Akonwo. On today's episode, we will be talking about a stay-at-home mom's guide to starting a home-based business with our guest, Padebi Ojomo. Padebi is a John Maxwell certified leadership coach, a trainer, speaker, a certified DISC behavioral analysis consultant, a serial entrepreneur, and a Facebook certified digital marketing associate. She is the founder of the Social Media School and the co-founder of ARV Digital Marketing and Leadership Development Agency in Lagos, Nigeria. She is a mentor at the Tony Elumelu Foundation, and her goal is to support 1,000 businesses in building a loyal community of lifelong buyers. Thank you for joining us on the show today, Padebi.
It's a pleasure, Marmy.
Great. So we're talking about stay-at-home moms on this episode. So I'm a stay-at-home mom, for example. How can I identify a viable business to go into?
First, I would say identify a few things that you are already skilled at or things that you're really passionate about.
Okay.
Because it's crucial in growing a home-based business for you to be first very passionate about what it is you're doing, because it could get really overwhelming. Just as every traditional business, so I think for me, that's like the first thing you need to do.
So I need to first identify what interests me.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, probably just get a sheet of paper and brain dump everything you like doing. I like singing, I like dancing, I like cooking, I like teaching. I could change diapers, for example. Like, totally, I'm obsessed with taking care of babies. Write out everything. Don't negate any one of them, no matter how small. So once you're done with that brain dump, that's like the first step. The second step would be to identify the things that you really, really enjoy and the things that people can actually pay you to do, because you could sing and dance, but hey, no one's going to pay you to.
Well,
to sing.
People now pay to.
Oh, well, not when you are.
But not as much as,
Yeah, so you want to now start striking off all the ones that you feel isn't immediately relevant, then narrow down to maybe 5 or 6 that people could definitely pay you, and then you could do from home. For some persons, maybe taking care of babies, you could start a home-based business as a crash. It may just be for people in your estate or people in your street, people in your community. It doesn't necessarily have to be for like the whole local government to start with. For some other person, maybe I speak the French language and I could teach other people the French language. So once you've narrowed down to that list, that's like the second other step you need to.
Oh, I thought it was a third one.
Okay, the third one, of course, will be now, telling people that you do, this is what I do, this is what I can do and stuff. Yeah, that's like step 3.
Amazing. So what do I need to put in place before starting the business? So let's say I've identified, baking or starting a creche or something. So, but what are the things that I need to put in place before I can start that business?
Okay, so I would say first test it to see if it's viable by telling family and friends. These days with a tool like WhatsApp, I think it's really amazing. All you need to do is just whip up a quick note and put it on your WhatsApp status and tell people, and the word will go around. If you have like a WhatsApp group for, say, maybe the association in your estate or your landlord association or something, you can put it there as well, and then see how people respond to you doing this without any marketing, while you're spending money on advertisements and stuff. So now, after you've seen that, okay, this is looking good, I'm getting some inquiries, maybe I'm already making some money, then you can now say, okay, I want to register the business, open an Instagram page, okay, what name do I choose and stuff? Because I've realized that there are many business people run today that are not profitable. So the first thing I want us to focus on is, are we sure people can actually pay for this? Are we sure that people can trust us enough to give us their babies?
Yeah.
So once you pass that, I call that stage the proof of concept stage. Once you've proven that the concept works, then it's time to scale. Then go Facebook page, Instagram page. Now you cannot get a graphic designer. I want to do a logo. I want to run ads. I want to do all of those. Yeah, but that is after you've established that. You've got to at least your first 5 paying customers.
Yeah, but so is it okay to say the safest people to start with are your family and friends?
Yes, family, friends, neighbors, community, people that already know you. There's no way you start a business, then people that don't know you just give you your money first anyways. It has to be people that already know more of me, and I kind of know she's pretty decent at this. I've seen her done this before herself and her kids, and I'm sure she can extend the exact same service to me or to my children. So yeah, it's safer to start with people you know, and then intentionally pick up feedback from them to market to get the bigger people on the outside.
Amazing, Padebi. Okay, so I know the main conversation is the guide now. So can you walk us through like the guide that you have, that you've worked with, that you would teach anybody to work with?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about my story, how I started.
Okay.
When I started that, I remember I was on a couch in my living room. I think I was in my pajamas or something, and I was in this WhatsApp group, and I told them I could teach people how to do email marketing. And people were like, okay, and they said how much, and I said 15,000, and I got 10 people to pay within 1 hour, and I was like, oh my goodness. That was like the quickest 150K I've made in my entire full adult life. In 1 hour, I had 150K in my account. And sincerely, then I didn't even know so much about email marketing. I knew just maybe like an introductory. I don't think I was an intermediate yet. introductory knowledge. I didn't know so much. And that's one thing I need viewers to understand, that you don't need to have built mastery when it comes to teaching. Good, because there's a service part, which is I can design your graphic, I can help you maybe vacuum your rug in your living room and stuff. But there's also the part of I can teach. You may be able to cook basic jollof rice, and jollof rice may not be like party standard smoky jollof rice, but you can teach someone that basic one that you know. You know, so in terms of teaching, you don't need to have built mastery. Intermediate, you just need to be 2 steps ahead of the other person. Once you're 2 steps ahead, you can teach them that 2 steps ahead. That is good enough. So I did go ahead to teach people MailChimp, you know, how to set up the accounts, how to send their first emails. And they were really excited. I'm like, oh my, okay, this is viable. I could do this. So I kept rinsing and repeating. So first you need to at least know, I know how to do this. You don't need to be a master at it. Basic, really basic knowledge. But you also want to understand that you can't just stay with the basic knowledge. At the point where you start making some money, you want to intentionally that, okay, I need to now invest I need to upskill, I need to reskill. Because if you want to stay with that basic skill set, then you'll be thrown out of business in no time.
Yeah. In fact, the person you've tutored would even
exactly. And I see this happening a lot. People just create a WhatsApp group on how to do this. They just push their materials. The following week, 5 people in that WhatsApp group want to build their own courses on how to do that. So you need to evolve, and you need to evolve really fast so that you are on top of your game. Now, if you see, and that exact same thing that happened to realize that, okay, teaching people marketing. I've been marketing for a while with my business, and I'm teaching people how to do it. I realized that, okay, I could turn this into a career. I could actually, get certified, learn Google, Facebook, and that's exactly what I did. I went back to school. I have a diploma in digital marketing. I'm Facebook certified, Google certified. So I didn't just sit down there just watching YouTube videos to teach people. That's how I started.
So you're trying to say that, because some people tell you, oh, self-taught, I just learned it online and all. But so is there a place for like a certificate, like a no-name certificate in all of this? So like you said, you had to go to Google, you had to go to Facebook. If anything, you can present the certificate today to say, I'm Google certified, I'm Facebook certified, as against, I just watched some videos at home certified.
Of course, there's a place for certification, but it then depends on the kind of career you're trying to pursue.
Okay.
And if it's actually a career for you, just a get-rich-quick scheme, because for some people, they just want an extra like 200K on the side. If you want to do this as a career, you want to become an expert, a thought leader, you want to become the go-to resource person in that niche market, then you need to be certified. Then you need to go back to school. Then you need to invest in yourself. You need to learn and learn and learn, because especially with a place like digital marketing, it is constantly evolving. It's evolving really fast. Yeah. Last year, there was no Reels. 3 months ago, there was no IGDM automation. Yeah. Facebook is introducing audio and video rooms just like Clubhouse. So you need to constantly evolve constantly learn to see if it's not something you enjoy. And it goes back to what I said initially. If it's not something you enjoy, then you'll be like, please. It will constantly be a struggle. So if it's something you enjoy, then it will be a total seamless transition.
Okay, Paddy, we will get back on your story right after the break. We will be back for more conversations with our guests after the break.
In raising our kids, parents should stop playing God.
The internet is actually using the people.
But when you are looking for money to help other people, then it becomes easy.
Don't rush into marriage. I always say this. You rush in, you rush out.
Family is the bedrock of every society and the essence of life.
On Today with John and Helen, we dig deep into family values in every sense of the word.
Join us every Saturday at 9:15 a.m. on PlusTvAfrica, DSTV channel 408.
With you, we play a part in strengthening the values passed from generation to generation.
I'm still here with our guest, Padebi Ojomo, founder of the Social Media School. Okay, Padebi, so we're talking about your experience. So let's continue from where we stopped. We were talking about certification and how you had to go get Google and Facebook certification.
Yes, I did mention that if you want to pursue that business you started at home, you want to into a huge career. You don't want to just be another business that's just on the side and just give me like an extra 100, 200K. You want to grow it into a full-fledged business. You want to become a thought leader. You want to become that person that is the go-to resource person in your niche. Then you can't settle for just free knowledge that you seek on YouTube or reading other people's email or jumping on free webinars. You need to actually go to learn exactly how to do it and how to do it right. You know, for some persons, I'm a consultant, for example. It took me about 3 years to get here as a digital marketer. If I'd just been watching YouTube videos and jumping on free webinars, I wouldn't have built that thought leadership into being a consultant. So it took a bit of investment of time and, of course, some money as well to actually build that. But it's totally up to you. Like, there is absolutely no urgency. It's not like it's compulsory, no. It's totally optional.
Okay. So at that point where you've gone for extra certification, what else would you advise in terms of running the stay-at-home business?
Then I also put structure in your business. Running a business from home could be very time-consuming. Oh my goodness!
Which is leading to my next question as to how to manage, you know, being a mom and a stay-at-home mom and also running a business. How would you juggle?
It's really time-consuming, and it also is capital-intensive. Of course, I can't even compare it with the capital spend to run a traditional business, but data spend is really huge.
Yes.
So you need to understand that you will, and data providers will frustrate your entire full life. That's a given. So that will definitely happen.
Like I have four.
I have four. I have sweeps. I have Etisalat. I have.
So you just have so many.
I do have. I have 4 different network providers that I use because you can't afford to be hopping on a call with a client and say, sorry, my internet is bad. It's an internet-based business. So that is if you are going internet business routes. Good. So structure will also mean identifying the days you want to work. You can't work every day. Especially if you're mom. Oh yeah, there are some days, you know, okay, this I'm dedicating this to cooking and doing housework and stuff. There are some days, you know, okay, I want to just sit and prepare content. So structure in your business will mean, okay, do I want to work Monday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and then take Thursday and Friday off, or do I want to work just Monday, Wednesday, Fridays? For example, I work Tuesdays and Thursdays only, and the other days are kind of very flexible. And it's very intentional. You also bear in mind that you will need to sort out the accounting part of your business to be sure exactly where your money is coming in from and where your biggest outflow also is. I always advise people to, as much as they can, reduce expenses in your business. While it's really important to invest in lots of tools and lots of equipment to make your business seamless and easy, you also want to make sure that as much as you can, you want to reduce the spend. Especially because most of the tools we use to run this business are not in Naira. Most of them are in foreign currency.
Yes.
And then we know how crazy the new conversion rate is. So you want to make sure that as much as you can. For example, one thing I do, for example, if I can find a tool that will pay for lifetime instead of paying per month, I do that a lot, especially for softwares and for. So my email marketing tool I use right now, for example, I paid lifetime. So with that, I don't have to pay every month. And trust me, it makes a whole world of difference in my finances. My calendar tool as well is also lifetime. And there are some tools you definitely can't pay lifetime for, but you want to just intentionally know that, okay, the business can pay for this, not your money that they give you to buy food in the house. Not get out of that one to pay for these tools. Because at the end of the day, if you keep doing that, what will happen? You'll be frustrated. You keep telling yourself, okay, I'm making the money, I'm not knowing where the money is going to, because it could be really, really expensive to run. But if you intentionally keep records of, okay, I'm paying for this, service, this is the amount. I actually have I have a paper and a pen. I wrote and I stick it in front of me, so I know when this payment is due every month. I know the cost.
I know you and stick notes. I know
Like,
you have
it's
notes.
an obsession. It's a total obsession because I do not want a situation whereby I have to renew a subscription, for example, and I don't have the money, and then I'll suspend my service, and I need it all to work. You know, it shows a high level of unprofessionalism. So yeah.
So structure, basically, and that structure would help you to prepare.
To prepare and plan, and then have a team.
So how can you have a team? I'm just a stay-at-home mom.
Oh well, if you have evolved to where you are not just another stay-at-home mom just trying to hustle,
make ends meet.
You are building this into business, then you will know you can't do everything by yourself. You also will know, okay, how many customers do I want to work with? What's my income goal? Do I want to charge in Naira or in dollars? You know, so based on all of those, you now decide, okay, which one of this work I have on my table can I outsource to other people? Now, what I did, and I'm going to be very upfront with you, is I groomed every 18-month cycle. I groom about 5 persons. I train them. They intern with me. I train them. After training them, I put the best 2 or 3. I add them to my team and I put them on salary. So I do that because I realize that the skill sets, they may not have it initially, just have the passion and they're really hungry and they're really excited, really want to do this, but they just don't have the knowledge base. Now, they may have the knowledge base in terms of I've done the certification, but the hands-on nitty-gritty business running locally here in Nigeria, they may not have that yet. You know, how to send invoices, how to follow up with customers, what happens when a customer is trying to be funny, do I collect my money before or after the service, all of those kinds. So I get them, I drill them for 6 to 10 months. Then the ones that are the most committed and are most consistent, I absorb them into my team.
Yeah, so I think it makes sense actually looking the internship way, interns, to help you with your business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so talking about the stay-at-home mom's business, at what point do I start paying tax and other duties that I have to pay as a business in Nigeria?
So the minute you register your business, you also need to have a tax number. Okay. So, and it's really, really crucial because in Nigeria, many of us don't pay tax, but your business is taxable. Now, if your business is not a limited liability company, your tax, of course, will be paid. It's different. Now, sincerely, I have someone that I delegate to do that. I have a lawyer on my team. I have a tax person on my team. I sincerely don't even know so much about it. All I know is that every month I remit my tax based on the numbers that we did. Yeah, but after, and I think we did that after the first year. So we did have the TIN number. As we registered the business, we also got the TIN. But we didn't start remitting tax until after the first year. Yeah. Okay.
So it was just important to point out that because you're a stay-at-home business doesn't mean you don't pay tax.
The only difference is that you don't have like a shop. So all those radio tax, all those local government taxes, I think you will not be paying.
Okay.
But the normal internal revenue tax, FIRS, you will definitely pay that one.
We will go on a short break now. Please stay with us.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed. A 500 naira they collect am. If you no talk, dem go beat you. Na 2,500 I dey pay.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408 or send an email to marketing@PlusTvAfrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Thanks for staying with us. This is still Ladies Talking Business with our guest, Padebi Ojomo. So let's talk about the social media bit, which I know is your thing. So how can my home-based business leverage on social media? So, and by home-based business now, imagine it being, it could be anything. So it could be baking, it could be having a crash, it could be online teaching, or whatever it is. How can I leverage social media for my advantage?
So you need to bear in mind that majority of the people that will keep you in business in terms of customers are people that don't know you at all. They don't know you yet. And the question is, where are you going to find these persons? Social media. So social media cuts across WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram. Of course, there's also LinkedIn, YouTube, and the rest. But if you have a small business, your business, and especially when your business is B2C, business to consumer, not B2B, then you have majority of your customers on Facebook and Instagram. So I would say, of course, create an Instagram page, an Instagram business page, create a Facebook business page as well, and start posting relevant content that would serve, that would capture the attention of your prospective buyers, so that when you finally grab their attention, you can now sell them into your program. Of course, you need to have a strategy, an entire strategy around this. It's not just about posting content. What kind of content do you want to post? The video, is it reels? Is it text? Is it you talking? Is it showing them what you're making?
So from your experience so far, which works best?
I would say a combination of all three, but videos always get more love. Videos always get more love because these days people don't like to read. You can pass a message across with video a lot faster than with written text. So I would say videos. I want to teach how to do X, Y, Z. I can say here, 3 would do X, B, C, and then I pass the message across. And I could show you how to do it as well with a video. But with a text, people will be a lot distracted. And let's bear in mind that because Instagram is just scroll, 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 thumb, 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 it needs to be attention grabbing. So if it's not attention grabbing in the first 3 seconds, then people are just going to move on to the next. And once they move on to the next, they're not coming back.
So attention, how can I grab people's attention on social media for my videos?
2 things. 1, ask a question, then start with the word you. You want to make sure the word you is in the first question, your first phrase. So are you a stay-at-home mom? Or do you struggle with acne? Or if you are like Kafaya that just had a baby and wants to get back to work, there are a few things you can. So you want to make sure it's ask a question, has you, and addresses the pain points of your target market immediately. So it pretty much just calls them out like, hey, and they pay attention to it. And then, of course, at the end, you also want to add a call to action. What do you want them to do after watching that video? Do you want them to share with your friends? Do you want them to send you a DM? Do you want them to just double tap, comment below, share their stories? Whatever it is you want them to do, you need to tell them on that particular post.
Amazing. Wow. Well, we've just gotten something free from the social media guru herself on how you can, grab the attention of people. But I know there's more, Padebi. You need to tell me more.
Oh, yeah. And I like to talk a bit about strategy when it comes to social media marketing, because what people see on the outside is tactical. It's like a cake. Good. A cake may have a very pretty wrapper on the outside, but it has got nothing to do with the taste on the inside.
I agree.
So what drives your marketing on social media? It's not just the pretty pictures or the pretty videos. It's way beyond that. What is the goal? So say you have a French coaching program you are launching, say in maybe middle of November, and you want to build some form of momentum for people to sign up for that program. Maybe it's an online course or something. It means that you need to start answering questions of your target market. So who is your target market? People that want to jump out to Canada, for example, number one. People that want to maybe get promoted at their place of work. People that want to maybe become translators, or they want to exactly, maybe they work with a bilingual organization. So you want to make sure that you have identified the needs, first of all, of your target market, and start putting out content that answers the questions on their mind, the questions that they are asking. And truthfully, you can actually find these questions on Google. When you go to Google, there's this particular tool that will bring out the question. You put just one keyword, and it brings about 250 questions people are asking around that keyword. So put out learning the French language. You see questions like, how many months do I need to learn the French language before I relocate to Canada? How do I pass the TEF exam? So once you get these questions, all you need to do is just start answering them. And as you're answering, don't say answer and tell them, thank you, God bless you. Tell them in 6 weeks I'm launching this course. If you want to know more, send me a DM. If you want to know more, read more about it here. If you want to know more, join the waiting list. So before your program launches, you build some momentum. You've gotten people that are already showing interest. If they are interested in answering the free questions, it means that they definitely will be interested in buying the paid program.
That's a wonderful strategy. Can you give us one more strategy before we go?
Okay, let's talk about a non-online business. Online. Let's say you have a store.
Okay.
And maybe you sell. I'm trying to see, maybe fashion items.
Yeah. So maybe you have a boutique.
Good. So fashion. I think fashion is really good because fashion cuts across hair and the rest of it. So if something you want to identify who your target market is. Now, for many persons, I know they kind of sell a mix of things, maybe shoes, bag, adults. But bear in mind that even for children, when you're selling children's clothes, the customer is the parents, even though the consumer are the children. Good. So if you want to put out, okay, so towards the end of the year, for example, you have your best. Lots of people always buy new clothes and do stuff. You want to start creating content around that. Here's how you could save money off your next shopping. Oh, here's 5% coupon off our. Did you know that if you buy 3 dresses, you could actually get 1 half price? Did you also know that if you need to maybe wash your dry laces, you could throw in some salt to make the color whiter? I just made that up actually. But pretty much ask the biggest answer the biggest questions that people are asking. As long as what you are selling is saving people time, saving them money, making them look better or live longer, they would always buy. And that's like a rule of thumb, right? Everybody wants to look better. Everybody wants to have slimmer waist, bigger hips. Everybody wants to live longer. Everybody wants to make more money. So once you can phrase your business into any of these one of these 4 categories, they will always buy. So if you're in a fashion business, people don't want to spend money on fashion. But when you tell them they are saving money, you're hearing save. You know low-key that you're not saving nada. But because people buy emotionally, once they hear save, they will jump on it. Yes.
Thank you very much, Padibia. Thanks for coming on the show.
You're welcome,
Wish you the very best. I mean, I've learned a thing or two about running a business on social media. So thanks for watching this episode of Ladies Talking Business with our guest, Padebi Ojomo. Do join us the same time next week for another episode. Don't forget to follow us on PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle on YouTube to catch up with our programs. I'm Moremi Akonwo. Bye for now.
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges. The growing youth population with little engagement, that is a ticking time bomb. We are a blessed people with diverse culture and highly cerebral minds who have a lot to say. And yes, we are talking. It is important we drive the right conversation that informs, inspires, influences thoughts and action. If we say there's beauty in our diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture. We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation as we are the hope for the future. Yesterday's conversations shape today. What are you saying to shape your tomorrow? We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
The Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry has warned that the myriad of challenges caused by worsening insecurity and crisis in the energy sector may subdue the gross domestic product growth projections for Nigeria in 2022. Now, President of the LCCI, Dr. Michael Olawale Cole, laments that the Petroleum Industry Act now seems to be in a state of limbo. He says the worsening security challenges in many parts of the country are another serious threat to the agricultural and manufacturing value chain, which is capable of reducing production and contracting these sectors. Also, how much progress can a health provider make in the society if it is constantly confronted with the challenge of a broken supply chain, chaotic distribution channels, epileptic delivery of quality medicines, and pharmaceutical supplies? Not much. Well, this is the reality that many healthcare providers in sub-Saharan Africa have to deal with as they work towards an efficient healthcare delivery system. We'll be looking at fixing the supply chain challenge in pharmaceuticals on the show today. Welcome to Business Insight in Plus TV Africa. I am Justin Akadonye. Well, first off, let's take you through some of the biggest economic stories in Nigeria that trended this week. Here are the highlights.
No fewer than 2,256 depositors have lodged complaint against their banks with the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. It's on transactions totaling 368.9 billion naira and $428.7, and that is 177.05 billion naira on the account. The institute, however, said it had been able to resolve 2,206 of the reported cases. It also said that the total amount awarded on the cases were 30.65 billion naira and $19.48 million since the inception of the tribunal. The price of liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, otherwise known as cooking gas, has risen by 25.7% in the last 3 weeks as 12.5 kg now sells at 8,800 naira from 7,000 naira. Findings reveal that 1 kg rose by 11% to 1,000 naira from 900 naira, 3 kg rose by 10% to 2,200 from 2,000 naira, 6 kg rose by 15.8% to 4,400 naira from 3,800 naira, while 12.5 kg rose by 25.7% to 8,800 naira from 7,000 naira. Meanwhile, the liquefied petroleum gas retailers branch of NUPENG had called on the government to come up with a clear policy direction for the development of LPG in the country to forestall the consistent rise in the price of the product. The Nigeria Customs Service, NCS, has commenced the implementation of the new version of the Economic Community of West African States ECOWAS Common External Tariff, CET 2022 to 2026 on imported vehicles. According to the NCS, the migration from the old CET 2017 to 2021 to the new version, which is in line with the World Customs Organization WCO, takes immediate effect. The customs spokesman, Timi Bomodi, said the new rate applied to both new and used vehicles imported into the country. New and used vehicles are subjected to a National Automotive Council (NAC) level of 20 and 15% respectively. The service also confirmed the reduction of import duty on imported vehicles from 35 to 20%.
Now, the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry has predicted that Nigeria's total debt stock was expected to hit 45.86 trillion naira by December 2022. According to the president of the LCCI, who spoke at a press briefing on the state of the nation, the country's debt stock was expected to increase following the federal government's plan to borrow an additional 1.6 trillion naira, while the 2022 debt target for domestic borrowing was pegged at 2.57 trillion naira. Here are the major highlights.
government needs to look for ways to resolve the lingering fuel supply crisis by increasing, in the meanwhile, importation to meet growing demand, which is putting pressure on diesel and fuel prices. It has also become imperative now that Nigeria needs to have reserves for this capital for critical commodities like fuel, which can be accessed to meet sudden crashes in supply like we now find ourselves. Number two, we have always advocated for the removal of fuel subsidies and that such rescued funds be diverted to subsidize the production of goods and services in the face of the rising cost of manufacturing in our country. Manufacturing people, they pay most of the cost that government should have provided in services to them. Number three, Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, should embark on easing the economy while keeping a tab on controlling rising prices. Credit to the private sector should increase and be targeted to supply growth and export promotion sectors. 4, the growing uncertainty is driven by the war in Ukraine, degenerating insecurity crisis in our country, and difficulties around the sourcing of forex for the importation of raw materials. 5, CBN needs to initiate a gradual transition to a unified exchange rate system and allow for a market-reflective exchange rate. That is what we've been asking for. The currency market is still beset with persisting liquidity challenges, evidenced in the wide premium between the NAFEX and the parallel market rates. The federal government plans to add 6.3 naira new debts to the current debt stock, which will push the country's total debt stock to 45.86 trillion naira by the end of the current year. We are likely to have a higher debt service to revenue ratio if revenue levels do not increase with great importance. With import continue to outpace exports, the trade deficit is therefore expected to widen in the full year that we are in now. And that may put more pressure on forex. Looking ahead to this current year, we expect crude oil to sustain its dominance in the Nigerian export, while manufactured imports will most likely dominate the country's import bill. We anticipate sustained trade deficit in agriculture, manufactured goods, and raw materials goods this year. The persistent Russia-Ukraine war has triggered a positive oil price shock with spillover effects on operating costs that are not directly to do with raw materials. Also, inflation in countries that are not directly engaged with the war. Nigeria is not in any way an exception, as prices of goods and services are moving northward, with the potential implication of shrinking production of goods and services. The worsening security challenges in many parts of the country are another serious threat to the agricultural and manufacturing value chain in our country, which is capable of reducing production and contracting these sectors. In the above conditions, if they persist, production volumes will be impacted negatively by a raw material supply chain, disruptions caused by the war in Ukraine, the rising cost of diesel, and other internal security crises. Job losses are also very likely due to constrained production and disrupted supply chains. All of these will likely depress growth potentials in the second quarter of this year. The agriculture sector showed some evidence of impacts from heightening insecurity and lingering supply chain disruptions, as it recorded rate growth of 3.58% year-on-year, an increase of 0.16% points when compared with quarter 4 of the year 2020, and an increase of 2.3% points from quarter 3 of last year, which recorded a growth rate of 1.22%. However, the sector contributed 26.84% to overall GDP in real terms in quarter 3 of last year. This is lower, of course, than the contribution that was made in quarter 4 of the year 2020, and lower to the quarter 3 of the year 2021, which was 26.95% and 29.94% respectively. The manufacturing sector recorded rate GDP growth of 2.28% year-on-year in the fourth quarter of the year 2021, higher than the figure for quarter 4 of the year preceding, by 3.80 points and higher by 2.01 points for the quarter 3 of the year 2021. The growth rate of the sector on a quarter-on-quarter basis stood at 3.57%. In terms of rate contribution to GDP, the manufacturing sector contributed 8.46% in quarter 4 of last year, lower, of course, than 8.60% that it did in the quarter 4 of the year 2020, and lower than the 8.96% it recorded in quarter 3 of the previous year.
Now, a Nigerian-based e-health pharmaceutical distribution startup is expanding access to quality medicines for healthcare providers and rebuilding the supply chain financing in the pharmaceutical industry. Let's welcome Dr. Chibuzo Okpara, co-founder of Drugstock, as he joins us on the conversation of improving the pharmaceutical supply chain. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Okpara.
Thank you, Justin. It's lovely to be here.
All right, let's talk about the pharmaceutical supply chain. There seems to be some bottlenecks in the sector. Can you walk us through some of them?
So the Nigerian and sub-Saharan African pharmaceutical sector and supply space is plagued by issues due to fragmentation of the supply chain. So this fragmentation has led to three key issues. The first being issues around access. The second, issues around pricing. Anybody can if you look at the price in the urban and rural areas, you see that there's a massive difference. And this is due to the broken supply chain, the products passing through multiple middlemen. And the third issue, which is pertinent and quite worrying, is the influx of fake and substandard medication into the supply chain. Anywhere between 10 and 30% of the products in the supply chain, depending on where you get them, might be counterfeited or substandard due to poor storage conditions. So these are some challenges that providers, patients face as they try to navigate the system. These are some of the things we tackle as a pharma tech company.
All right, so how do we begin to expand access to quality medicines for healthcare providers and rebuild the supply chain financing?
So what we do at Drugstock is basically leverage our pharmaceutical platform, which is a tech platform that connects manufacturers of good quality pharmaceutical products to hospitals and pharmacies. And essentially what we are doing is building a bulletproof system where manufacturers can be sure that their products can be accessed by people who need them. In your typical system, a pharmacy, for instance, might see a total of 50,000 patients over the course of a year. But by leveraging our platform, this pharmacy is able to drive their operations up smoothly to go beyond this 50,000 to as much as 100, 150,000 patients, creating more access for people, doing better pricing. When they leverage our systems, they're also able to, take advantage of our supply chain financing solutions, which enable them to provide value for their patients cost effectively in quality ways that benefit the patient at the last mile immensely.
All right, let's talk about the use of technology in all of this now, because that seems to be the future of how supplies and demand and supply are actually met. How would you say that technology is actually done in the sense of getting those who need these drugs and, of course, the suppliers of these drugs together, bringing them to a platform?
So thank you for that great question, Justin. Technology is a great enabler. As we've seen post-COVID, we've seen that technology has driven a lot of the movement in the space in healthcare, as well as a lot of the space in the industries and other similar industries. I have a theory that, 5 years from now, you're not going to have technology companies. You're just going to have all companies using technology. And companies that don't will be moribund. I think even if you go to hardcore manufacturing, you hear them talking about SCADA systems and things like that. And very soon those SCADA systems will be interconnected in such a way that the Internet of Things will also be moving towards making production even easier. So from that perspective, I think there's no escaping technology. Now, how do you make technology work for you? And this is what companies like Drugstock, companies in the pharma tech space, companies in the health tech space are working towards. How do you leverage that technology to improve access? That's what we do. We provide end-to-end visibility for products going through the system. We enable companies get their products, their good quality products out there to starve off the counterfeit products that might be in the market. We also make it easier for patients, providers, hospitals, pharmacists, doctors to be able to, connect directly to these supply chains, enabling their patients get the best quality products at the time that they need them, without any hassles, not looking for every day. There's a story of a patient that was looking for cancer medication and couldn't find that medication. Meanwhile, this medication is in somebody's warehouse somewhere getting expired. So using platforms like Drugstock, we're able to connect these patients to where the products that they need can be brought to them at the right time. Yes?
Let's talk more about the future of the pharmaceuticals in Nigeria, because people in the hinterland still complain of getting this product when they need them. How do you see the Nigerian pharmaceutical industry? Where do you see them, that is, in the next 5 years?
Great question, Justin. So if you're going to look at the future, it's important to pay some mind to what has been in the past, or at least what the current outlay is. Right now, the logistics space, the infrastructure is a bit, challenged with regards to getting things to the hinterlands. You're going to have to leverage futuristic, interesting solutions, drone technologies, eco platforms, embedded financing solutions that enable people to access these products, at the right cost in the ways that that can meet them at their needs, their points of needs. Take, for instance, we're working on a project in Calabar where we're able to deliver drugs that would normally take 9 hours. We're able to do it in 15 minutes due to a partnership with an innovative drone technology solution that we've leveraged in that area to be able to do that. So these are some of the things that, look into the future of serving healthcare, that we're going to be able to create opportunities for people to be able to get these products, in addition to opening up new markets, employing people, creating new jobs in these areas as these technologies create new portals of access or new ways of doing healthcare business and providing people healthcare access that hitherto we would not have thought about it. I think the interesting thing is that in all areas of pharmaceuticals, technology is playing a huge part, from developing the drugs to distributing the drugs, to tracking, tracing, recalling the drugs. Across the whole lifeline of the product, you see a lot of innovation, So quite excited. I think this is an exciting time to be in this space. A lot of opportunities. Nigeria has traditionally been challenged with a lot of obstacles with regards to patients accessing the product, purchasing power and things like that. But I think with the strength of innovations that we see on the landscape, I think the future is bright for the next few years.
Okay, as we round off now, just on a quick note now, how do we actually sort out the issue of pricing? Most times the issue would be getting the right drugs and getting the right quality, but another one is that of pricing. How do we begin to fix that particular challenge?
Ooh, Justin, you keep giving me these very succinct questions. Pricing is a very key thing that would enable patients, access to pharmaceutical products. The issue of pricing is myriad, right? Because on the demand side, you have issues around affordability. You have issues around inability to pay, wages that have traditionally, and I think something like 2/3 of the country, or 70% or thereabouts, live less than the regular the income standards that are used to benchmark countries around the world. And this is quite challenging, you get. At the same time, on the other side, there's a lot of investments that need to be done on the supply side to be able to improve and increase the distribution and all that. However, having said that, I think this is the age of deploying finance for it to work for people. You know, when people hear about financial solutions, they often think about solutions around, you know, the pay stacks or the flutter waves or the fintech solutions that we see, the CUDA banks and all that. However, you know, there are so many financial technology revolutions that are occurring below the line. You know, embedded financing, secondary solutions, where businesses are able to take advantage of, you know, these credit opportunities, these financial flows that are made to meet the provider or the patient in their area of need, you know. And these solutions, I feel, you know, will go a long way to tackle some of these other things that need to be done, including improving insurance and things like that.
All right, thank you so much, Chibuzor. That's as much as we can take for time's sake. We must say a very big thank you for sharing all of those thoughts with us as to how we can improve the supply chain issue of the pharmaceutical sector. We do appreciate your time.
Thank you, Justin. It was great to be here.
It is indeed our pleasure. And that's the size of the show for today. I am Justin. Academia Business Insight returns again next time. Bye for now.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on PlusTvAfrica as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
So what are the top decisions that the United States considers necessary that Nigeria must take? I like to think of my interactions as conversations, not interviews. And that's why I say asking questions is both an art and a science. Everyone says in Islam you are allowed to have 4 wives. Is it mandatory? The right question enables answers that educate, inform, clarify, and help you, the viewer, to better understand the issue before making up your mind.
Our goal is to reduce from 10 to 2 days the time it takes to register businesses in Nigeria.
Join me every week on this station, PlusTvAfrica, and gain exclusive access to my conversations. I'm Angela Ajetumobi.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on PlusTvAfrica, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Hello and welcome to One on One. My name is Fumi Unwajefe, and on today's episode, we'll be talking about embedded finance as a solution for non-financial businesses and the growing tech space in Nigeria. My guest today is referred to as a chief plumber. His name is Okwe Adeoye, and he has spent over 17 years in the technology and payment ecosystem in various capacities, including engineering, leading high-performance product teams. Okwe spent 11 years at InterSwitch Nigeria. In the process, created and led the creation of the QuickTeller product line and ran it as a business unit before handing it over, from strategy to product design and management to architecture, the entire works. Now he started his own Nigerian API fintech startup, one pipe, and it recently raised $950,000 in pre-seed investment. He believes the world needs a new type of financial service ecosystem, one where everyone has a role to play and everyone has some value to capture. Thank you, Ope, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So tell us, what was growing up like? Were you, so I always like to ask this question, especially to the tech guys. Were you like a nerd growing up? What were you as a child?
Is there any nerd that will tell you that I was a nerd? So I think I wasn't one of those cool children. I wasn't cool in any way. I think I was a nerd.
Okay.
I think I was pretty reserved. Typically always at home.
You're still reserved now. It took a lot of talking to get you out.
Yeah, so always reading a comic, always buried in fiction, usually. But I wouldn't say I was a tech child per se.
So now that you're in the financial space, is that something when we're all younger, we always had this thing, I want to be this and this. So you're reading comics and all of that. What did you want to be when you were younger, and then how you found yourself?
Spider-Man. I wanted to be Nigeria Spider-Man.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to be Nigeria Spider-Man. Like every child, you want to be this, then you want to be that, then you want to be that. But there was one thing that, after a while, I was like, I think I would like to be an inventor. The picture I had in my head is a mad inventor in his basement, always creating something new. And then there's a world out there with the thing he creates, he can be watching them play with the thing from outside so that they don't. So that's sort of the picture I had in my head for what I want to be when I grow up. As things evolved, I thought the solution to that was, I'm going to become an electronics expert. I'm going to move to Japan. Then growing up was like Sharp and Sanyo. I'm going to move to Japan and become an electronics expert. Then because of that, I went to study electrical engineering. Then in the course of studying electrical engineering, I'm like, this thing is hard. I don't think this is going to work. Somewhere in the course of that, I picked up coding. And that's how I entered tech. But I wanted to be an inventor. I hope somehow I'm halfway in the course of that journey now. Maybe somehow I could be an inventor.
Interesting. So, the thing with tech, especially when you hear that people raise so much money, many people don't hear about the not so successful stories. So I want you to tell us about Twi Labs. What was it about? What happened and all?
Okay, so I was like, I'm going to start a company. It's time. So I've always planned to start a company, like as far back as I know. Even growing up, I told my parents when I was leaving school that I don't want to work for anybody. My mom convinced me that no, you need to start from somewhere. This thing, you don't just jump into it. So they start from somewhere, ended up becoming like 13 years of paid employment. But I'd always thought I would start something someday that would invent something. And my thought was, after spending quite some time in the corporate world, to start a lab that can produce products on the fly and turn those products into companies. Like that was the idea behind Twi Labs. Luckily for me, I had like a group of friends who understood that concept, who backed us with a little bit amount of capital to get started. But before we knew it, the money was finished. None of the product had taken roots. It didn't know the work, if I can put it like that. All the money had gone. My savings had gone with it. I'd moved from the house I was living to another one, taking my daughter from the school she was in to another one. My second daughter could not start school yet because, are you sure we can afford this thing now? So there was all of that going on. I put my wife's car on Uber. So there was quite a bit of that. And then, but all of this happened in the space of 1 year. Like this entire, from employed guy that thought it was all that to this guy is just struggling and doesn't know what he's doing. All of it happened in like 1 year. Then it was at the end of that 1 year, we're like, let's do something different. Which of the things in these Twi Labs look like it is making sense? It was the thing then called PayPipe, like payment aggregation. Like, okay, can we reorganize it a little bit and call it one pipe instead and turn it to a company, and let's just face it. It was a painful process. Like Twi Labs were 24 people at some point. We had to let go of almost everybody.
Oh, wow.
And it was just 6 of us that crossed to continue the one pipe journey out of that. So yes, it was a painful personal experience for me. I won't lie. It really was painful. I'm like, who sent you to do this thing? But
what are the lessons that you've learned from the failure of Twi Labs and you are using very effectively in one pipe now?
To be honest, I would say the biggest lesson is that there are no failures, that there's only learning. And whatever you think is a failure It's really just if your staying power can get past that phase. The thing you went through in that period is a contribution for you. Like one of the things I took away from the Toy Labs experience was that I find that younger, hungry, driven people are an asset for you. Like we are all trying to make this thing work. We don't know this thing, so we're trying to do it. So people with such a mindset are a significant asset versus people with a chip on their shoulder, at least depending on the stage that you are in. I took that lesson, and it's even part of the things that drive our hiring process at One Pipe now. Like we need to check, like in every interview, we make sure that we ask the people, what do you really want from your life in 5 years? You have to articulate it as clearly as you want. And you have to articulate it back to us how we can help you do that before we even discuss your work at One Pipe. Like what's important to you? Do you see us helping? Is there a line that we can find some kind of synergy? If yes, let's continue this interview. If not, it's been real. We shake hands, we move.
Yes, that's very interesting. Okay, so let's talk about, you've started this company, finding the right staff of people, because I know like the tech space, they put your people like this. Somebody is dangling money somewhere. Somebody is, so you've gone through this process. This person has, pledged their loyalty and everything to you, but look, somebody's promising me ×5 of my salary. They'll move me abroad. They'll do all of that. How do you? You've talked about getting the right stuff, but how do you now keep this good talent that you have for your business?
If I tell you I know the answer, I am lying, because if I know the answer, I shouldn't be running One Pipe. I should be running some kind of talent thing. But hard facts will be, since we started One Pipe, we're roughly 33 now, if I have the number correct. Up until December this year, only one person had ever left us. And
how many years has One Pipe existed for?
3 now.
3 years, okay.
Yeah. So while people talk about talent attrition, I think we don't have that problem, at least not yet. What is working, I think only time will tell. But I think part of what our team likes is this sense of openness, transparency. Like I go to them, I'm a first-time CEO. Like I don't know this thing. So if you ask me, two of us are looking at each other. So I think people appreciate that sense of candor.
Honesty, yeah.
They appreciate that sense of, I'm supporting this guy. Now, for me, that's like something to even be afraid of. Like I always tell them, I don't look up to me, I beg. Me too, I'm looking for who to look up to. Like, don't look up to me. But I think that kind of candor, that kind of, this is a real place where all real people helps people. And we even look each other in the eye and say, I know you're in the tech space. I know they are dangling carrots in front of you. My guy, feel free to explore. Just make sure that this our mission that we're pursuing together does not suffer. Like I belong to several like tech groups where I'm like, this guy is on my team, but look at him in this channel doing this other gig. No, it's fine. As long as there's a mission we're chasing, our mission is moving, and you need to support yourself with some other way or some other thing, please keep doing that. Let's just keep our mission going. And everyone is an equity holder in the company. So it feels like it's
fantastic.
our company. So no matter what you do, when you need more money, go find your more money somewhere. We don't have it here. But see, your long-term value is here. So let's just do it together. So a sense of mission, joint ownership, maybe. But time will tell if those are the right formula to.
Well done. I know it's not as easy as I've just made it sound so simple.
It's not simple.
Okay, so let's talk about embedded finance. Break it down to me as a layman in the simplest of terms. What is embedded finance?
Okay, I'll use a very practical example if you don't mind. I ran into a company in Kenya that says we provide inputs to fish farmers.
Okay.
Now, this input costs a lot of money. The average fish farmer cannot afford the input. But you're looking at the guy's pond. I know that in 9 months, this pond is worth $50,000. You know that. But you need to supply feed of X value. You need to feed them every day of this value. And just doesn't have it. But in the meantime, you need to pay school fees. You need to pay transport, buy petrol. So this company provided those fish farmers that I'll be the one sending you your inputs. I'll be the one paying for the things you need in your life. But when your fish is done, I'm the one who collects it and I'm the one who sells it. Now, effectively, this company became the bank of the farmer. It's like, I will give you money every month. I will pay for all the things you need me to pay for. I'll give you a small bank account that your money is inside. I can use to do the things that matter to you. Be spending on me. But 9 months later, when your fish are ready, I'm going to harvest it and I'm going to go sell it and bring you back your small change.
Profit, yeah.
So embedded finance is an approach where non-finance companies can provide finance products to customers that they know in their own value chain usually, and as a way to be the bank of those people. And once you put it that way, it's like, if you put it in practical terms of how we all grew up, it's like cooperative bank when we were all coming up. The cooperative banks were usually small, in small communities, and they were like banks of the people. So the cooperative bank in my mother's area was for all the women in that area. The bank would provide credit to them, they deposit money in there, but it was like our bank. So we think that in the African context, there are so many value chains like that, that there's the room to create banking experiences that are localized to specific value chains like that. So embedded finance makes it possible for such organizers of such value chains to offer banking services without being the bank at the back. Because typically they will do a deal with the bank at the back and then sort of repackage the bank's products and present it to their own customers in their own name.
So is the Nigerian banking space, or should I say financial space, ready to take on this? How has it been, accepting it and, working with this process? How has the process been? It's
hard work, first. Is the environment accepting it? I'll say the environment is not accepting it. So it's hard work. You need to do a lot of evangelizing, part of why we're having this conversation. Yeah. You need to help people to come away from the biases or their understanding of how things are. Like, you need to convince a bank, for example, to say, banking is not people coming into your branch to open an account with your people so that you give them one card that they use somehow. That banking could actually be an arrangement between you and that aggregator of fish farming to go find 50 farmers to work with, and they will all carry the account of your bank. But you won't be able to control the actual last mile experience because that guy is handling it for you. So it's sort of, there's some evangelizing required, but so far we find out that people understand, especially when you look outside Africa. You're already seeing examples of this in other parts of the world. Like on Shopify merchants have a Shopify account, so to speak. On Square, you have your Square account. Walmart gives you a card. So people who have seen some of these things in other parts of the world are wondering, there should be an adaptation for this thing in Africa. So people get it, but typically what you need to do is to push people over the edge to appreciate and move in that direction.
Interesting. Okay, we'll take a short break and then we'll continue this conversation shortly. All right, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, I'll still be talking to Okpe Adeoye about embedded finance. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. My name is Fumi Onajefe, and you're watching One on One. I have Okpe Adeoye with me. So, what are the now you've talked about the banking institutions or the financial institutions accepting your platforms, but let's talk about the businesses. What challenges will it help the businesses? So we've used this example of the fish farmers, for example, and it's great that you use that example for me, because recently I spoke with like a couple of female fish farmers and all the challenges and all. So what is their own benefits? What challenges will embedded financing help them overcome?
Yeah, so imagine that you are the company that is doing this deal with these fish farmers. You likely have a larger company, maybe some hotel chain that you need to supply fish to, and it is competitive, and you know it. And you need to be able to supply high quality fish to them to serve to their own guests in whatever way, shape, or form. So you already have your own problem. And you are struggling with getting supply for that. Now, by offering this financial product, so to speak, to those fish farmers, you can, to a large extent, guarantee the type of fish you will get. To a large extent, buy the loyalty of the farmer where possible. Buy the loyalty of the farmer to say, it will always come to me so that I can go sell. You know you can always sell for much higher margins. You are the one in Lagos or wherever it is you So the benefits to them usually are typically translated in the form of loyalty down the chain. In some cases where it is not, if I'm not using fish farming, for example, maybe retail, in some cases it is more efficient payment processing. We find cases where maybe retailers are supposed to pay to distributors, and the distributors always have to collect cash from the retailer and then look for how to dispose of that cash in the evening. Things like embedded finance eliminate those kind of problems for them. So it is loyalty, more efficient payment processing, and in some cases you can increase the basket size of the value between you and your customer because you offer them credits, as an example.
Okay, so now you've talked about evangelizing. What has been like the greatest challenge for you with, because it's almost like something that has apparently almost like never existed or is not very common in this space. So what particular challenges are you facing right now?
The biggest challenge is the challenge of saying, let's do it this way. That's really the biggest challenge. One of the things we always talk about at One Pipe, for example, is there are two philosophies in this world of embedded finance, or however you craft it. There are two philosophies. One is people already have bank accounts somewhere.
Yeah.
You need some way to reach into that bank account and do all the things you want to do. One philosophy. Another philosophy is, see that place where that money is. The effort required to reach into it, work out the process, create the best experience to see is so hard. Kuku just give them brand new types of accounts that you have this 100% access to upfront, so that you can now create these most seamless experiences possible. Two very divergent views on the same problem, right? We chose this other approach of let's create brand new accounts, let's list them with all the right properties at the beginning, and let's find the right customer set that needs that type of account. The hard part is having the conversation with a business customer who is telling you, I just want to process payment from the account in that other bank. And then you are saying, no, but how about this other way? So the hardest part is evangelizing that this other way has much more long-term value to a customer than what they think they know today. For some of us, it constrains the kind of customers we can have, because like my team will always say, let's talk to a customer, let's paint this long-term vision. If a customer can connect with that long-term vision, that's our ideal customer. Then let's go to how it can work. If a customer cannot and just says, no, I want bank statement or I want a debit, good afternoon, sir. There's one company down the road that looks like what you are looking for. Please go talk to them. So that's been the hardest part. Evangelizing what people think is not a today's need and showing them that actually it could be today's need and carry long-term value for you.
But I think another challenge is, without trying to mention any big names, have you had people compare you and say, oh, so and so already do this?
Not today.
How are you different from this other person?
Yeah, it comes up a lot. It comes up a lot. And the answer we give is the same one I just gave you. So and so and so and so do it this way because they're trying to help you reach into existing accounts, which is what you really came to ask for. But hold on a minute, let me explain to you how it is more valuable to you to actually be the bank of your customer. This. Maybe 60% of the people will fall off when you say that. Like, no, I don't. Call me in 3 years' time when I'm ready for this time. Thank you, sir. Step aside. We'll move to the next person. So that comparison comes up a lot, but the answer is always, hold on a second. Let me walk you through what this world could look like in 5 years' time. Do you like it? Yes, let's move forward. You don't like it? Go to so and so and so. They are nice people.
Okay, fantastic. Now let's talk about the tech space. So every time I'm reading, all the tech blogs and everything of how you've raised money here, people have raised money here, and there's a huge amount of money. So is it really that easy for tech companies to, specifically to your own experience, how easy or difficult is it to raise money and get investors to believe in you that, look, I'm not selling moi here, this is a real
This
deal.
is a serious thing. Yeah. I will answer that with a very vivid picture. We've raised funding twice, once in 2020 and 2021. So we raised 950, then we raised 3.5 million. And after each cycle...
$3.5 million or naira?
Dollars.
Okay.
After each cycle, I personally felt sick.
Oh, wow.
Like, oh, we finished fundraising. Where's where is sick? So, short answer is it's not easy. People fall sick after they raise money. But I think it gets better. So one of the things I'm learning personally is that in fundraising, you make a commitment. You talk to a lot of people and you make a commitment on what your company will do. Several will buy your promise and you take your first move. Then you come for your next funding round and you need to demonstrate that you see that promise I made the last time. We fulfilled it. Do you want to back us again? What you then find happen is that after your second, third, fourth round, it kind of gets easier as long as you are fulfilling the promise you made. And those who didn't back you at the beginning, when it was still like,
we'll come
you
back.
now be like, I missed that round. Okay, can we do it now? That's sort of where we are now. So it's not easy, but the way to do it is make a promise. A percentage of people will believe in you. Fulfill that promise. Go back to those who didn't believe and be like, are you sure you don't want to get on this train? That's sort of the formula.
Okay, so let's look at tech space in Nigeria. It seems almost like it's just quantity over quality, and we don't have so many like unicorns, in Nigeria. What do we need to do? And the way I said like what does Nigeria and the tech space need to do so that we can grow or have our own unicorns?
While I'm not a finance expert, like I'm just a guy that presses laptop, so I cannot really give the proper answer to that. But I've heard people who know more than me say that this thing is just a timing thing. That Nigeria or Africa in general looks to be 5 years behind Far East Asia. So we are where Far East Asia was 5 years ago. So therefore, this thing is timing based, and some of the things that it takes off based on, like you see momentum now. As the momentum picks up, you start to see, one more unicorn, another unicorn, and even beyond unicorn. Like unicorns, to me, is one of those things you just throw around. But beyond the concept of unicorn, like where's the value being created? Where are the exits, for example? Are people really making money off this thing? When they make that money, do they plow it back into the market so that the thing can keep going? I think you start to see the effects of some of these things in the next 3 to 5 years. You will see founders, I haven't seen some of it now, you see founders who have managed to make some money off their company, backing other founders, right? And then those ones too will somehow push it through another 3 years, they'll back even more. So my view is that it's these things that create the momentum that we would like to see. And about 5 years from now, Nigeria will look like what Far East Asia, or Africa will look like what Far East Asia looks like now.
Okay, so the tech space in Nigeria is really growing and it's fantastic. But some people have said, without trying to mention any big names or anything, is that I've grown this tech company, I've gone to get VCs from out of the company, and they're saying, look, you can't register this company in Nigeria, let the shell be here and just be living large, but you have to come and register in a foreign country and all of that. So how does that work? How does that eventually benefit? Because I almost feel like, does this defeat the whole African-owned, local-grown tech company idea? And how does it still benefit the economy?
To be fair, I think it's a give and take. If you cannot plow your own capital into your own society, and you find somebody looking to put in the capital in, you need to meet them in the middle, right? If the person says, well, your company needs to be in Delaware, then your company needs to be in Delaware so that you can get the capital you need. What you gain, that capital is now deployed in your country. You are employing people in your country. You are creating products for the fish farmers in your country, etc., etc. So while you may not be able to create the long-term value, at least from a capital appreciation perspective in your country, from the actual operating performance, it is happening in your country. You are pushing your country along, right? But maybe the long-term value of the company lies in another country. That's fine. It's give and take.
Okay, so on that note, we'll take another short break. Still, I hope you're enjoying this conversation. It's a very, insightful and learning process for me. We'll take a quick break and then we'll be right back. Thank you for staying with us. I still have Okwe Adeoye with me, and yes, we're talking finance, tech space, growing a business, and the entire works. So the African fintech ecosystem has the most attractive investors. That's attracted about 62% of 4.65 billion US dollars raised. Wow, interesting. I have to get into the tech space. I know it's work, but I want to make money. But why is this happening up there? How come the African tech space is so attractive to a lot of investors now?
Yeah, my view is Africa has significant infrastructure deficits, step one. Whether you think of infrastructure in terms of people, whether you think of it in terms of road and rail, or you think of it in terms of financial infrastructure or credit infrastructure, we just have problem full everywhere. So where there's problem lies opportunity.
Solutions, yeah.
And then if you look at, say, the Western markets, the return on capital is not as high as it used to be, etc. So if you are somebody who has a lot of money and you're in the US or UK, and you're looking for how to turn this money around, okay, invest it in a place where there's problem. Of course, you lose some of that money. But when you do solve those problems, your money goes like this. So I think that's why the African tech market is attracting funding, because maybe tech companies are trying to solve some of these infrastructure problems, and fintech in general is a bit easier to solve than the more physical infrastructure problems. So capital will naturally follow where it thinks it to get its money back.
Okay, interesting. So what advice do you have for key players in industry, finance space, in fact, the entire tech space? What advice concerning, succeeding? And that's why it was very essential for me that you shared your 2i lab story. People have done, and a lot of people come out for funding and we hear success story, but there are a lot of people at the back end who are still trying to, work off. What advice do you have for these people?
First off, don't take my advice. That's the best advice I can give you. Even me, I'm looking for advice. So I will not say I have advice. I will only say that one of the things that at least I personally believe in is collaboration. Like, what can you do? What can I do? How can my 1 + 1 become 3? How can my 1 + your own 1 become 3? Like, we should always all be looking for ways to do that. I know it's not easy, especially when we all get funded. We think we can do it.
Yeah, but people are worried. Sorry, I have to interrupt you with that. Some people are worried that we should collaborate. What if this Lagbaja goes take my idea and runs off with it and everything?
What are they using it for? Idea is nothing. It's the coming together to actually make the idea executable that actually carries value. Like, what is idea? Come and take idea. It's all over the place. I don't think idea is the problem. I think it's just a willingness to say, I'm good at, knitting. You're good at selling knitting. Please, can we come together and create sweater and sell it? Bam. Not, I'm going to learn how to make sweater. I'm going to learn how to sell sweater so that I can keep it all to myself. There's really no point. Don't tight your chest. Yeah.
Interesting. So what's this writing challenge you just put up?
Okay, so back to like how you mentioned that what are the things we're putting effort into right now around evangelizing this concept in general. So our thought was that with this writing challenge, we will get people who are better at writing, better at research, to do the research around the concept of embedded finance and write openly about it. When the writings get published, we then pay winnings to the best write-ups. We have a panel of judges that's going to review all of the submissions, and then the best published articles get paid good prizes, I believe.
Okay, thank you, Ope, for sharing your story. We hope as you get bigger, you raise more money. I won't have to remember me now. I won't have to be chasing you around.
Save the number.
I'll be like, oh, for me, I'm somewhere in London right now, I'm too busy. But thank you so much for your time. Even I, really, you've just made it, because at first, before I did this interview, it seemed all very gibberish and complex. I was telling my colleague and telling you earlier of how I was really studying like I was reading an exam, because I was like, I want to understand this financial thing. But it really has been a good conversation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And that's all we can take today on this episode for One-on-One. Follow us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. And I'll see you again very soon. My name is Fumi Nwajekwe. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You're welcome to the news update. I am Adebanke Odunuri. Good afternoon. The People's Democratic Party has further adjusted the timetable and schedule of activities for the 2023 general elections. The PDP, who announced the adjustments in a statement by its national Publicity Secretary Debo Olugunwaba in Abuja, said that the new closing date for the purchase of forms has been extended to Tuesday, April 19th, while the last day for the submission of completed forms has been extended to Wednesday, 20th of April. Olugunwaba said that the party adjusted the timetable to make up for the 2 days public holidays of the Easter celebrations announced by the federal government. And a 38-year-old Nigerian man from Imo State, Ugochukwu Williams, has declared his intention to run for the office of the President of Nigeria. Speaking to journalists while declaring his intention in Owerri, the capital of Imo State, Williams said it's time to give energetic youths a chance to contribute to their quota to nation building. He noted that major achievements in Nigeria were recorded when youths were leading the country.
Young people to take over. Mr. President has already said the wise side. So Mr. President is going to hand over to a young Nigerian. He's going to hand over to a youth that will better this country. Then when you talk about party, yes, I'm a PDP man for a long time, and if you want to make a change, you must belong to a political party all over the world. And I chose to be with PDP. And running under the PDP is because we are serious. We are realistic. We are confident that this is the structure that will give us what we want. And that is why we don't want to go to a new party that does not have a spread all over the country. What we are asking is, PDP, give us the ticket. And you see people from APC, ABGA, and all the smaller parties all over Nigeria, we support us and we win. It will be like a tsunami if PDP give me ticket today.
Ogun State PDP governorship aspirant Segun Sowunmi has promised to rewrite the security architecture of the state if elected. Sowunmi made the promise while attending the stakeholders meeting and delegation sensitization at Yewa North Imeko Afon constituency. Delegates also assured him of their support towards his aspiration.
Security, as a concern, the challenges they face with Boko Haram, with herdsmen clashes, which they have reduced to Fulani invasions. I've assured them that there is no such thing as an invasion, but that a comprehensive security architecture will be rewritten to cover the space. And I also charged the Baales to figure out a way that they can be more useful at information gathering in a way to help us. I reiterated my belief that a biometric capture of the people of the state to a verifiable address will be most needed to help us begin to stem insecurity by being able to put the people of the state in their location and we can identify them by biometric.
Deputy Senate President Ovie Omo Akege has said that Delta State Governor Senator Ifeanyi Okonwa spends 2 billion naira on political appointees in the state monthly when he can't pay retirees their monthly pension, having worked for 35 years. Omo Akege made the statement at this declaration for the All Progressives Congress governorship aspirant in Warri, Delta State. Delta State correspondent Akpomijero Friday reported that DSP Omo Akege said that the present government of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the state has failed Delta in all sectors and that it's time for everyone to wake up and vote the party out.
Our civil servants, our parents who gave their life, the best part of their lives, in the service of this state. Some of them have retired in 8, 9, 10 years. Until today, they have not been paid their retirement benefits. Meanwhile, Okonwa is busy every day employing I never talk much like that. When I know, Abi, Okonwa spends 2 billion naira, 2 billion naira every month on these people who do not contribute anything to governance. But our civil servants, our youths who need gainful employment, he will not give you jobs. Enough is...
On his part, the Commissioner for Information Delta State, Charles Aniagwa, debunked the allegations made against Governor Ifeanyi Okowa. Aniagwa said those appointees are those helping the government to develop the 25 local government areas of the state, and that this shows that Deputy Senate President is not on ground to know what the government has done.
We need to remind him that he needs to go and visit Obiaroko and see what is going on with the Obiaroko bridge. We need to also tell him that before we came on board, our people from Indokwa West to Indokwa East were making use of what we call pontoon, a particular kind of boat that have to convey vehicles from Indokwa West to join our people in the Beneku houses, not to come and display their ignorance of the issues as they are on ground. He does not know that we have built bridges even very close to his community. It means
Apologies for that breaking transmission. The Yahaya Bello Presidential Campaign Organization has said that All Progressives Congress APC presidential aspirant Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State possesses all the attributes that can clinch the presidency for the party in 2023, claiming that of all the presidential aspirants, Bello is APC's best bet. The Director, Media and Publicity of the campaign organization, Yemi Kwalapo, said that experienced and accomplished leaders of the party would not sacrifice Bello's winning attributes for politics. She asserted that the party knew that after 8 years it must present a candidate that could win the next election, considering the we against them attitude of citizens in many countries to the government of the day, which usually makes retaining power under a free and fair environment difficult. And in Imo State, southeast of Nigeria, residents are celebrating Easter amidst high cost of goods and services. Residents say that commodities usually selling at 500 naira are now sold above 1,000 naira. Some residents accuse the government of the day of being insensitive to the plight of the ordinary Nigerian. They therefore call on various governments to do something urgently so as to address the hike in the prices of commodities.
And that 20,000 naira, if you put market of 20,000 naira in your table, you will see the outcome. If you sell finish, people will ask you, how much do you start with this business? You say it's 20,000, some will lie, some will say it's a lie. But now that 20,000 naira will be as if it's 5,000 naira. You can this market, if you start it with 100,000 naira now, it will be as if you just started, as if you are joking in the market.
Let them come to reduce everything to the low. Like fuel now is 200 naira, 250 per liter. People are suffering. Like myself here, the place that they go 15 naira before, they go that place now 150, 200. So let him come and know what to do for the country.
The price is too high. That even after we sell finish, we cannot make dime gain from it. Before we used to buy one cow 250,000, the biggest one 300,000. But today, the cow you can see that is big is 700, 800,000. And when we cut it on the table, no matter how you cut it, you will lose. We are not making, we are all debtors. As you see, anybody that is selling meat is all debtor. So we know the government should come and see to our plight. We are suffering a lot.
With the situation of things in the country, you find out that things are very high. The prices of things are going up per day, per second. You can come to market in the morning, like for example, you buy 25 liters of oil, 35,000 naira in the morning. By the time you come in the evening to buy, they will tell you it's 40. I'm just taking that for an example. Why? Why should it be like that? No, but because we have bad governance, it is the cause of all these things. If our government will sit up, if our government will do their job, both the customers and the people that are selling, everybody will know the right thing to do. Because count back 10, 20 years back, things were not bad like this. If you can count back 10, 20 years back, 15 years back, things were not like this. At least if you enter the market with 10,000, you will come out as a rich man. But enter this market with 10,000, you are coming out with this nylon bag, this wakre bag.
And as Christians are basking in the euphoria of the Easter celebration, some Nigerians say it is worth celebrating, irrespective of the many challenges in the country. That's on Street Views. Let's take a listen.
It signifies freedom for me. Means that Christ came, he sacrificed himself, and he has died so that a lot of sins that a lot of people commit, even before they commit it, they are forgiven. And so once they just accept him, everything is gone. Yeah, there's insecurity, there is a lot of things, but Jesus did not cause it.
As a Catholic, Good Friday meant a lot to me because we are celebrating the resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ. If you are alive today, despite the security situation in the country, you should celebrate yourself. You should celebrate Christ, because without Christ, there's no life.
Where there is life, there is hope, right? We have to, we don't we are Nigerians. No matter the condition, we are going to continue smiling and celebrating our life because we are alive and there is health, and we thank God.
It's worth celebrating because no matter what, we can't just deny ourselves the right to be happy. So we need to be happy, to share, because now Nigeria itself is very bad. So the only way you can come out of the bad situation is just for you to give yourself that happiness.
As a Christian, I just understood that Good Friday is the day that Jesus Christ went to Galilee and he was crucified on the cross of Calvary. And it's a very significant event. So regardless of whatever may be, what may come, the circumstances on ground, it should be celebrated. And it should be taken into consideration that this particular day is actually the day that somebody came from heaven, took the form of man, and died for our sins.
In what it, in any condition, we should praise God. When you are alive, be able to praise God. And especially this week, most of people is late. Maybe sickness or one thing or the other happens suddenly. So when we are alive, you praise God.
Nínú ayé wa nítorí pé ńgbà tí Jésù kú fún wa tán ó tún jíǹde ó rà wá padà nínú ẹ̀ṣẹ̀. Ìwé mímọ́ náà ló sọ nínú ohun gbogbo ní ká ṣá máa dúpẹ́. Ó lọ́pẹ́ ni. Ọpẹ́ ló yẹ. Ọpẹ́ ló yẹ. Àwa láyé, ọpẹ́ ló yẹ.
And on to business news. The Nigerian Communications Commission has urged Nigerians to protect telecommunications infrastructure, saying that vandalism, theft and hostility from the host community are among the major setbacks to the telecoms industry. The Director of Zonal Operations, NCC, Amina Shehu, said this at the sensitization program organized by the Commission at Wanune, Taraka local government area of Benue State. The NCC said that aside from the role of the law enforcement agencies in protecting telecom infrastructures, the consumers are obliged to ensure the protection of telecoms infrastructure in their environment. And as a news update, for more stories, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at PlusTvAfrica and PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. I am Adebanke Odunui. Thank you for watching.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from PlusTvAfrica.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment. There's another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on PlusTvAfrica as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
Life can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting, gives you enhanced platforms that offer you the best chances of winning. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games. Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment of winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you.
Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
Fever is a clinical condition where there's an elevation of the body temperature above normal. Many times, the regular body temperature is between 35.5 degrees Celsius to about 37.4 degrees Celsius. Anything above that can be classified as fever. In some cases, there's a difference between fever and hyperthermia. Especially when the person has been exposed to a hot environment, coming out from a hot sun, or a natural raised body temperature. But aside that, once there's a raise in body temperature beyond 37.4, you can classify that as fever. And there are several causes of fever in children. One of them includes sepsis. Sepsis means the invasion of the body by microbes, by bacteria, or by microbes generally, which could be either bacteria, fungi, or even virus, right? That is sepsis. Okay, it could be parasitemia, especially more in our local environment where there's malaria. Okay, it could cause fever. Other conditions could be dehydration is one major cause of fever. Just like your regular car, when there's an overheating, you know that the water is drying up. Same way it is even in a child, especially when they are dehydrated, they are prone to having fever. These are the major causes of fever. There are several other causes of fever that can happen, but key factors are: one, sepsis, which is the invasion of microbes, and especially when there are open wounds, maybe there's poor hygiene in situations where there's stooling and vomiting. There could be inhalation of microbes. An example, in cases of asthma, bronchopneumonia, there would always be fever. So most of these clinical conditions where there are infective causes will produce fever. Other causes, like I've just said, parastemia, things like especially malaria, will produce fever. And lastly, dehydration will produce fever. Well, practically, fever in itself is a symptom. So what are the symptoms to look out for in fever? Is the raised body temperature. But more importantly, when there is a raised body temperature, it comes occasionally with some degree of weakness, some degree of unwellness. Many other times, the fever could come with thirst. There could be a need for a lot of thirst. That's when you also know that dehydration is one of the causes. One of the other things to look out for is any other surrounding symptom around that fever. And of course, any other surrounding symptom. For an example, open wounds, like I've said, and any form of infection. First, every mother should have a thermometer. You don't say that my child has fever because you touched the child. Oof, it's hot. Fever is not measured by your hand. It's measured by a certain device called a thermometer. And it's simple. There's a handheld thermometer and there is the thermometer, the auxiliary thermometer or the mercury thermometer. Now, this particularly tells you this fever. The moment you notice fever in your child, that's not when you're rushing to get all kinds of syrup. The first thing is to expose that child. Now, one thing I failed to mention is that fever sometimes could come with chills, depending on the age of the child, come with chills. In worsened situations for older children, it could come with rigor. So that person, the child is feeling cold and asking to turn off all the fan, and in other conditions is already shaking. Now, this shakiness is because the body is trying to produce heat, and so is vibrating, all right? Now, when you notice that, because the child is feeling cold, doesn't necessitate covering and turning on the fan. No, that's even when you expose. That's when you want to tepid sponge. Tepid sponging means dipping a towel into normal water and tabbing over the body. It's not bathing with cold water or ice-blocked water, right? So you use normal water and tepid sponge, wrap around until that temperature comes down. If that temperature is not able to come down with that, you can advance to the use of simple drugs like paracetamol. The use of paracetamol has almost no contraindication, especially if you follow the prescription. So when you use it first time, you could do as much as 6 hourly, all right? But if you do for 1, 2, 3 times, and this fever is relapsing and going and coming back with the use of paracetamol, I think that's the right time to go to your doctor. Now, many times many mothers want to use ibuprofen. I don't recommend that you go as far as using ibuprofen. You could use it, but use it on your way to the hospital to see your doctor. So basically, fever is one of the most predominant conditions in children, and it can, if not properly managed, especially in children between the ages of 6 months to 6 years, it can result into something we call febrile convulsion, where the child begins to shake, and of course that damages the brain. So in other words, you must prevent the escalation of fever by constantly controlling it. And if you do that for 24 to 48 hours and that child is not getting better, I advise you go see your doctor. My final word is that fever is not a symptom on its own. Many things cause it. You don't treat the fever, you treat the cause of fever. Fever many times comes with association, and you want to find out what are the other associations. And when you take a close history, you see that that fever has progressed into something else, maybe cough, maybe stooling, maybe diarrhea. These symptoms help the clinician to find out what is wrong with the patient.
My father has a lot of sides, and you hear about the fights. You don't hear about family that much and what that meant to him.
What's your dad's name?
Muhammad Ali.
No one, not even some members of his family, knew of the existence of these audio tapes until recently.
Mariam, you're now 11 years old.
They thread the narrative of the boxing champion's life in Claire Lewis's documentary. Ali's daughter, Hannah, offered the tapes to Lewis.
Say, I love my daddy.
I love my daddy. I love my poo-poo head daddy.
Okay.
My father was always conscious about history. And, I think that's one of the reasons why he made this series of audio tape cassette recordings.
Say, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
The film shows the whole world in love with him. Testimonials of friends and adversaries paint the Olympian and three-time boxing champion Cassius Clay, later Muslim convert Muhammad Ali, as a sensitive, poignant, and courageous man. Because he refused to serve in the Vietnam War, he was stripped of his championship title, and his boxing license was revoked. His close friend, former football player Jim Brown, remembers.
He had a lot of courage. The risk he had to take, and then to be isolated, to have his crown taken away, not be able to make a living, that was difficult.
But he stuck to his convictions, and in 1974, at the age of 32, Ali made a comeback.
When George Foreman meets me, he'll pay his debt. I can drown a drink of water and kill a dead tree. Wait till you see Muhammad Ali.
He defeated formidable George Foreman and recaptured his title.
I get into the ring with the guy, I bluffed him, I done everything. Beat him up basically for about 5 or 6 rounds. I thought it was easy. Then about the 6th round, he whispered in my ear after I'd hit him in the side, "That all you got, George?" And that was about all I had.
I Am Ali does not say much about his broken marriages, but it highlights his bond with his children.
I was the Concorde of boxing. I was at a high altitude than the rest, moving fast.
As Ali has aged, we hear him begin to slur his words, a sign of developing Parkinson's disease. He finally retired in the late 1970s, and in the mid-80s he was diagnosed with Parkinson's. But to the world and his children, he remains an icon of power and grace.
If anyone wonder why me, Muhammad Ali, is making these tapes, is because history is so beautiful.
Penelope Pulu, VOA News, Washington.
Hello and welcome to Tea Time Roundup on Plus TV Africa, where the big stories live. Here I break down for you the fun-packed entertainment that made it to Tea Time this week. So please stay tuned and stick with your girl Elile. You don't want to miss this, trust me. Now, first up, singer Osinachi Nwachukwu passed away, but however, her producer revealed he advised her to leave her husband because she was being abused. Also, her husband was arrested, and more details were revealed by her children. We also had a guest, Chigozie Wisdom, who spoke about the gospel music industry and also spoke about Osinachi's death. Enjoy.
Like, see, my daughters will always have my door open for
and
them.
we should also, while we are telling our daughters that it is better to leave a failed marriage with your two legs than to live in a coffin, we should also let our sons know that there is no excuse, there is no reason to resort to violence on anyone, more so your wife.
And then also the men, I feel like domestic violence is a global thing. But you find out that because of the patriarchal system as well, the amount of pressure put on men, the fact that they cannot show emotions. Look, when I was in that abusive relationship, I was telling you, I was expressing myself the best way I could without being violent. If I had to cry, I would cry. No one would think that, but because I was brought up in a way where I was allowed to show my emotions, maybe because I'm the last child though, but I was allowed, and everybody knows me. I throw tantrums. If I throw tantrums right now, you'd be like, oh, this hard guy. You get what I mean? Like, I throw tantrums, but that's because that's the best way I can express.
That's the way you were
I talk about everything. I can talk, I can be angry about one small thing and I'll talk for the next 2 hours about that small thing. Do you get what I mean? Because I need to let it out. But a lot of men will keep it in. It will now solidify till it turns to a fist. Are you getting what I'm saying? You shouldn't wait till you start doing this, and it becomes a fist.
I think that also brings to play the fact that we should let our men know that they can express themselves. I think we are already at that point.
Yeah.
We are evolving. I know there are a lot of downsides to this whole wokeness and everything, but let us look at the upsides too. There are a lot of upsides to us saying we are evolving, we are a woke generation. Men are able to express themselves more.
Like men can cry, men can talk,
so that
men
be
can
a
go
problem.
to therapy, men can get what's it called, whatever, just you can get a shrink.
Because when you
to speak
bottle things
it becomes
that is no excuse toxic. Though, because I can't think of what this man
no, it's not an excuse. We're not making excuses for him. We're just talking about generally about things that lead, because I still don't know what will bring me to hit a woman.
I've never even been in a fight in my life.
I don't know what will bring
woman. I've never even been because they are going to beat me black and blue. So I do not even bother about that.
I don't know what will bring me to look at a woman, right? And I'll be like,
how angry you be and you raise your hand.
I even make the worst decisions at those times because I walk away from it. And then when I walk away, I probably won't even come back for a while. Do you get what I mean? And when I go like that,
it is still better than raising your hand. Look at it from every angle. It is still better than raising your hand to hit the person that you are having a fracas with or anything. I mean, this man needs to be brought to book. This is not just one of those situations.
It would be. No, this is a global case.
This is not one of those situations.
It's the federal government against somebody now. See, that's what we want. State against.
Because
we don't even want
there is absolutely no excuse. The stories that I saw. Let the family say they're
not pressing charges. I want to press charges.
Because the stories that I saw from different people. This is not one person, not two persons.
Me personally,
if they let this
different people. Let a family say they are not pressing charges. I want to press charges for psychological trauma. I'm traumatized psychologically.
Exactly.
Do you understand?
Like reading
from
the
your
stories,
actions.
The story from there was this one from Frank Edwards. We have this one from our producer. There is one from a family friend. I think her sister spoke on it, and I'm
so
like,
many.
This is terrible.
I feel like look. I don't know. I'm the type of person that I don't know if this will come out right, but as close as we are now, and you get into an abusive relationship, I'm the type of person that can pay you for your trip to Dubai. I'm married though. You don't even know. I'll just carry go airport, put you inside plane, they go.
Like that is totally the both of us. I know you can only try.
I can only try, but I know these friends needs to try harder. Like, why are they just picking up? I know it is not your business, but there are some things.
It's not even a case of it is not your business. Now, she's a grown woman. She's a powerful minister of God, and she sings songs that moves people, and people are like that. Who knows if all the tears, she used to cry a lot. Who knows if the tears were not just
the way
from
she was expressing her,
she was just that was the best place to
and all she could do was
herself
pray.
Cry.
Religion is also part of the problem. Please
whatever
pastors,
you do, leave.
all of that, please. In as much as prayers can move mountains, we know prayers can do things, but there's some people that will never change. An abusive man may never change. And the problem, so there was an issue.
On my way coming to work this morning, I was surfing in it, and I saw a post where the first son of Osinachi was saying that their dad told them that beating a woman is actually good, that he would seize, like he was, basically narrating the whole ordeal, and they said that they are happy that their dad was arrested because he actually shouts at them and beats them
But
too.
this type of man, right, I also want to say, apart from, when people like this are caught, I want to get the rationale. I want to get where their head is at.
Is it the need to control or something?
People like this are the ones that I actually like to interview. I'll treat you like a human being, even though he's an animal right now. I'll treat you like a human being just for you to talk.
Sometimes you need to understand.
I need to know where exactly is your head at. Why do you feel the need to beat up a woman? Why do you think that it is necessary? So I know
and
that
you are instilling in your children that beating up a woman
is good.
You know this thing they say that what you see, children are people of perception. Yeah. What they see is what they easily copy what they see. And this is how children grow up and they become abusers simply because they grow up hearing that doing it is right. It doesn't make sense. Like why would people be like this? What sort of man? I don't know how old those children are, but we're talking about kids here. They didn't say I'm sure we're not talking about 16-year-olds. We should be talking about someone lesser than that. So you are telling a kid of less than 18 that
it's okay to be the woman. And guess what? A lot of these men, right, they feel like that is how they get respect. But respect is given, it is not taken. Do you understand?
Yeah,
you can't
respect
take it,
comes to who it's due.
It is reciprocal. If you give respect to somebody, you will get it back in return. If I treat you like trash, you will treat me like trash. It's simple as ABC. But if I treat you with kindness like I do all the time,